Alrighty, folks. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Sunshine Reformer podcast. My name is Greg.
And I'm Gabriel.
And welcome to another episode. We come to you on the evening, what's it called? I guess just the eve.
The eve of Election Day.
Election Eve, yes.
Election Eve Day. Because it's
Day.
Christmas Eve Day. So it'd be Election Eve Day.
Correct. Yes. So tomorrow is the big mama jamma of a day for deciding where the hell this motherfucking country is headed. And so we decided, in light of that, to kind of just have an election special. We haven't really talked directly about the presidential election. We've talked about some local stuff and kind of touched on the Electoral College last week and everything. But we're just going to lay it all on the table and kind of give our thoughts. I'm going to kind of give the firearms talk a little bit of a rest just because everybody on the fucking planet right now is talking about guns. And
like the insane sales and everything. I heard NPR was talking about this. So when they're talking about it, like, it's a little washed out at that point.
It is. And, there's always going to be that to talk about. But this is, I feel like, kind of encompasses our whole week right now and what's going on. And I know there's a lot of talk about the election also, but, we're just two people that want to give our opinion on that also.
Oh, yeah. We're just another two guys with another two assholes. Just
exactly.
like everybody else.
Exactly. So I'll turn it over to you, Gabriel, for your opening thoughts, and you can talk about the article you have or whatever.
Sure. I guess just like I feel the whole 8 years. What is it? Not 8 years. No, 2016.
4 years.
4 years. Oh wow. Oh jeez.
We hope it's not going to be 8.
I was trying to think, like, when Bernie Sanders first ran, I was like, when was that? It wasn't. He didn't compete against Obama because he would have surefire lost, just for sheer fact of Obama was a fairly popular president. But gosh, 4 years, the longest 4 years of my life.
Yeah,
and holy shit! Like this year could have been 2 years, easy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I guess the whole 4 years, which I guess this is what I'm about to say this is better because the time span was much shorter than I thought it was. But the 4 years from Obama's last day in office, excuse me, by the way, real quick, drinking Blue Moon because Halloween was a blue moon.
It was.
For those who don't know, it's not literally a blue moon. It's just it's when there's a full moon twice in the same month.
Yes.
So that's all it is. It doesn't change colors or anything. Well, for those who don't know, it's not
Hopefully
that special, but it is. It's like uncommon.
Let's give our listeners a little more credit, Gabriel.
Yeah. Well, hey, nobody can know everything about everything all the time. I always I always assume people may not know what I'm talking about, and if they do, and we're having a conversation, they can smack me or something and tell me, look, I already knew that. Shut up. That's
Shut
fine.
up. Move on.
I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Cheers.
But cheers, man. But 4 years ago-ish, give or take, Bernie Sanders was running for presidential nomination for the Democratic Party. He lost the primary to Hillary Clinton, unfortunately. But from that time to now, I don't know a single presidential candidate or primary nominee who has had as much of an impact as that single person in, I don't know, like easily the 21st century, but also probably as far back as maybe even like the 1930s. Probably I'm thinking FDR. Because I don't think anyone was like that hyped for somebody in that long to have an impact, even though you weren't even elected for 4 years. I just think that's great, and the community and the new leftists that we have, and new people entering the further left. So a lot of them are like previously liberals, like I kind of what, like, libertarian liberal kind of thing.
I would put myself in that camp for sure.
And now like I'm like, hey, you know what? Socialism is actually a pretty good idea. Everybody should unionize.
I'm more left now than I ever have been.
Yeah.
Like I know I explained in our kind of intro episode what kind of led me to being left leaning politically, but absolutely this year, and just kind of, not to tie guns back into it, but once I started buying firearms and learning about that whole world, so it's definitely happening. And if it's happening to me, it's happening to others as well, for sure.
And it's just
on a larger scale. It's
really amazing that no matter what the outcome of this presidential election, hopefully we will be able to keep the momentum moving forward.
Right.
Because the past 4 years has been pretty fucking awesome to be a leftist. Despite, all of the issues we have, like with protesting, like the police violence and brutality and such, despite, literally being on the fringes of losing civil rights that we previously had for some of our LGBTQ plus community, and a few other things. Despite all of that, like, the broader community has grown. Leftism is more popular now than it was at any other point in the past 20 years.
Absolutely.
Maybe even 30, 40, 50 years, something like that, because we had neoliberalism in the 80s and such. So, like, we've really done a lot of work, and we've changed the conversation. Healthcare is a consistent talking point during presidential debates. That wasn't the case like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. That wasn't the case. Maybe it would have come up in a really broad sense, but we're talking about decommodification of one of the largest industries in the United States right now. And we've been talking about that for 4 years. That's pretty fucking awesome. So even if we do lose to Trump and we end up having another terrible fucking 4 years of losing civil rights and all these other things that just keep on happening, don't stop. We just got to keep going, keep doing it, Yeah.
If anything, like you said, it's just radical. Well, I don't know if radicalizes is the right word, but it's just made a lot more people a lot more enthusiastic. And I think, I was going to say about leftism, but also just here. Let me just kind of backtrack a little bit and just talk about my perspective as a, let's say, 18-year-old. We determined that my first time voting was, I believe, in George W. Bush's second time running. From probably 18 to, 28, that like 10-year span. I can distinctly remember thinking to myself, well, of course I'm going to vote, but like, I don't like, not really, nothing the president does, the president of the United States, nothing the president does really affects me that much. I was really naive, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
That just kind of goes to show you that you're always learning, because, when you're 18, you feel like you know everything, I think. And obviously that's not true. But it's just, I can distinctly remember like thinking that like in, some of the earlier elections that I voted in as a young person, and just saying, you know what, I know my vote counts and everybody's telling me to vote and it's important and all that stuff. But like, it didn't really dawn on me like how important it is until now I'm in my 30s, and fucking shit that the president does and the rest of the federal government actually fucking matters for every single person in the country, And it's not just, well, there's just some, pieces of shit that live in Washington that are just greedy and whatever. It really does affect everything about your life. And I'm realizing that more and more now as I get older. And so that's and again, if that was my, sorry, dropped my phone. That was my, my thing is that like, I feel like that sentiment is probably shared by millions of other people that are either my age or even older, or even people like yourself that are, the next generation that's coming after me, and it is really, really important. I think that's just, it has to be such emphasized so much on people that you got to get out there and vote. If you don't like what's happening in your community or in your state or whatever, find the time that you fucking have and use it effectively to volunteer or do whatever it is you got to do to make change. So,
yep.
That's my passionate speech.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone's got a phone now, and you know, some leftists may not want to do this because Google, but Google Voice is an option where you can get like a secondary or tertiary phone number for calling and texting. If you wanted to, you can phone bank using that kind of number. You know, and it's just it's super simple to do that. Now, I don't know of another service that really does that. I'm not exactly too privy with that specifically, but Google will provide like a phone number and stuff. So if you don't want to do that, and you know a better way than using Google, you know, that'd be pretty cool if you could post that in the comment section or something. Right. But that's just something that like anybody could do, phone bank. You know, I used to work in a call center, and everyone's always scared to do the call center work because it's incredibly stressful sometimes, especially depending on like the type of call center work you do.
Right.
I mean, when I was getting trained for it, I like broke down and cried like the 5th week of training. I was like, dude, I don't know if I could do this. Yeah. Because people are fucking mean, dude. Holy shit. People suck. People are mean as hell. I mean, I've never in my life been threatened so many times in like a single week that I was going to get killed.
I used to do door-to-door sales.
Yeah, that's
I would literally knock on people's doors, go door to door. I did it for Solar. I did it for DirecTV out in fucking El Paso, Texas. Like, it's a nightmare. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
I was going to say, let's get into some content here.
Yeah.
And let's talk about your first article. And then I have just pulled up, I'll link this to you because I think we can probably spend a good amount of time talking on this next piece too. So the first article has to do with that attack on the bus, right, in Texas, on the Biden bus.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get your dibbly-doo up here too. And then do this. All right, cool beans. Yeah, so this was a thing, and it's been a thing. This was actually, according to this article specifically, I mean, obviously this was posted 2 days ago as well, so it's not like super new. But this Biden bus has been, it was being trailed for like, I think a couple weeks at this point. And it finally turned like violent, like in this article. Let me see if I can find it again. Yeah, here we go. Armed Trump trolls, which I don't know if I'd call this trolling. You troll online. You troll with a fishing pole to get fish. You don't troll people by ramming volunteer vehicles and blocking traffic for 40 minutes. They were fucking ramming vehicles, dude. Like, what the hell?
Excuse me.
But they got trolling out of it. There was trolls. They were trolling. Yeah, that fucking triggered me, dude. Holy shit. God, that fucking way to soften the blow. What is it? George Carlin always talking about how we use softer and softer language for whatever. I didn't like the exact context that he used because I think he used some sort of PTSD example. But whereas like that has a scientific value. In this case, this is unironically just using softer language for no reason. Like, these guys shouldn't be called trolls. This is gonna sound so stupid. This is so specific, such as my like single issue. But like if they're talking, and I know this is Mr. Trump's son, okay? Or wait, no, who is this? Raphael and Chia or whatever, and Kia? I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. Texas House of Representatives. That was him saying that before accusing Mr. Trump's son. That's what it was. Okay, sorry. But still, nobody should... That's not trolling behavior. You know, if they were leftist and they were doing this to the Trump bus, they wouldn't have been called trolls. They would have been called fucking terrorists. Like, right. What the hell? Ugh.
It's crazy. And there was like official... there was like Texas state representatives on that bus.
Yeah.
Like, there was like, you know, not saying that no one else is like, or like everybody else is less important or whatever. But like when it comes to security of like people that are like, you know, high up ranking officials and stuff, that's no fucking joke. That's like, you can get a charge like with federal offenses and stuff when it comes to stuff like that.
I would also say this should be some form of voter suppression as well, because these were officials. This was an official bus, first of all. So not only should this be a federal charge for like attempted some form of reckless driving or attempted homicide, something like that, when you're ramming vehicles, that obviously is the first issue, and then the secondary issue should be, just to throw more charges on them would be like voter suppression, because they did have to cancel events because of this harassment that they had. Oh yeah, and harassment charges. Just throw all of the charges on them. You know, voter suppression, harassment, endangerment, using motor vehicles, reckless driving, I don't know, like any number of attempted homicide, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just fucking layer the charges, man. Layer it like you're laminating bread or something.
Dude, not unbelievable. It is very believable.
Well, it is now. Like if this was like 6 years ago, this would have been fucking unheard of.
Oh yeah, I know. So that was very unfortunate that happened it happened right outside of Austin, I guess.
On I-35, by the way, which I pulled it up to show as an example. A little map here cuts through the U.S. Odd number interstate, north-south. Even number interstate, east-west. So
exactly,
it cuts straight through.
Yeah,
just to show.
And then what I wanted to show was just the latest polls according to CNN. Actually, let's do both. What does Fox News have to say? Because their stuff might be different.
Oh, this would be a good time to bring up 538 as well.
Let me see if they have Fox News polling numbers. Why is my iPad not working today? All right, so they're reporting the same thing.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So I'm looking at the national polls right now. Whew, excuse me.
What the hell is happening outside? Oh.
Oh, so this is
Hey Gabriel.
What's up?
Sorry, I've got the mailman here. He's doing a pickup for me. I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay.
Can you just talk briefly for a few minutes?
Yeah, I can actually I can talk about this for a little bit.
Yeah. Go ahead and just do your thing. I'll be right back.
Yep. Work at home. That's okay. So first of all, this is like, it looks like it's a wombo combo of studies. Let me see if I can just mute him briefly. That was wrong. Mute. There we go. No? Okay, whatever. So this is a combination of studies or polls. Quinnipiac. I don't know how to say that. Quinnipiac. I don't know. I'm gonna give up. University, NBC / The Wall Street Journal, Fox News, CNN / SSRS. I don't know what that is. So that's a combo study, or poll, I should say. And it's just showing that Joe Biden 52%, Donald Trump 42%. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be the popular vote. That looks more in line with what the popular vote's supposed to be. A larger pooling of information. And I think Conrad Artorias was talking about this when we did our live stream briefly, that he would be interested in talking about this. But so 538 collects an aggregate of studies and not studies, but polls, and they give it percentage chances. The thing about a percentage chance is
I'm
that
really sorry about that.
it's okay. I started talking about the CNN one, and I moved on to 538 real quick. The thing about the percentage chance is that there's
What's
still
the 538 thing?
538 is here. Let me send this to you real quick.
Yeah.
Let me do. All right. So 538 does an aggregate of the of polls, as many as they can get. They rate the polls how good they were, if they took really good measures into making sure the information was accurate, and a bunch of other things.
Okay.
And they aggregate the information and they turn it into like a statistical odd. Okay, so Trump, according to 538, with their aggregate, has a 10% chance of winning.
Angus.
And Biden has an 89% chance of winning. Now, that's awesome. That's fantastic, you know. However, that still means Trump has a 10% chance of winning. Like I know people bring up, well, look, 538 said that Hillary Clinton was going to win it like 60 or 80% or whatever, and it's like, yes, she did have that chance, that odd, but if you roll a die, like a single 6-sided die, if you roll a die, a D20, but a D6, you have a 1 in 6 chance to roll any one of those numbers. Now,
right.
if you say all of a sudden, I'm going to win if I get any number between 1 and 4, and you win if you get any number between 5 and 6. You roll the die, it's in my favor because I have so many numbers that I could roll and I win. However, it's still possible to roll a 5 or a 6.
Did they really say that the last election that Clinton had an 80% chance of winning?
She did. At one point, I think she had an 80% chance, and then it ended up dropping, I think, as soon as the big scandal was happening, and it ended up being like a 70-30 split or something. Let me pull up the Hillary Clinton and Trump odds 538 2016. Probably could have done. So it ended up being 71.4 to 28.6. That's what it ended up being. Okay.
Oh wow.
Now I'm showing it on my screen. Greg cannot see this, unfortunately, right now.
Okay.
July 30th, 2016. So middle of the year. They were almost neck and neck for odds chance of winning. 50.1 Trump, 49.9 Hillary Clinton. And then from there, it drastically changed. Polling started showing differently, and as high as 87.6 to 12.3% Clinton to Trump. And then it declined again for Clinton, increased for Trump, and it got as close again as 54.8 to 45.2. And then it increased again up to 87.3 for Clinton and the inverse for Trump. And then it dropped back down, and the odds slimmed out again. A lot of uncertainty happened this election. It was fucking insane. What is today, the 2nd? Right?
Tomorrow's the day, my dude.
Let me see here. So this day, 4 years ago, Clinton had a 67.7% chance of winning. Trump had a 32.2% chance. Every single day after that, Trump's chances increased up until November 6th. So well after Election Day or something like that, give or take. Oh wait, no. Election happened. Oh no, I'm sorry. Election happened November 8th. So November 5th, 35.3, 35%. November 6th. But it increased for Trump, and then they ended up splitting just a little bit again at the end. This time, it's a little different. I want to get that same graph up. Here it is. This time it's different. If we go back to July, we see all of July, Joe Biden is very steadily in the 70%. He doesn't dip below 70% until August 28th. He drops to 69, sex number. As low as 67 on August 31st, and then he immediately starts coming back up, and ever since then, he's been going up since. So right now, he is higher and has been consistently higher chances of winning compared to Trump, and then also compared to the 2016 election. So Joe Biden is far more likely to win than Trump, still has a chance of having Trump win, and mostly that's because of the Electoral College. So, and we already talked about that. I don't want to talk about that again. And then they also break down the weird and not so weird possibilities where like there's different odds of something weird happening. Biden wins in a landslide, 29 out of 100, and that's defined as winning the popular vote by a double-digit margin, which I don't think has happened in a while. Biden wins at least one state that Trump won in 2016 is 98 and 100. So just keep that in mind. Trump has a 2% chance of not winning the same states that he won, or a single state that he won in 2016. He might be losing that state. So it's very high odds. Trump has...
These are some really interesting
it's detailed.
Things here.
It's really detailed. And you can go down to like state races and stuff like that.
This one is kind of interesting to me. It says, no one wins the Electoral College and the Congress has to decide the election. Has that ever happened before?
I think, didn't that happen to Bush? Well, I don't know if Congress did. The Supreme Court voted on Bush winning, right? Because of the hanging chads.
Has Congress ever had to... Let's see.
So current odds for Biden, for the Electoral College, 349 to Trump's 189.
That's
and then the popular vote is 53.3% Biden, 45.4% Trump. And then if you're looking at the electoral votes forecast or the popular vote forecast, you see there's like a gray area kind of, or it's like it's really just a lighter shade of that color, that's the plus minus variability for each candidate. And you'll notice that earlier in the year, that whole vagueness was absolutely huge. It was massive. We're talking like at the beginning of the year for Biden, it's as low as 48%, but as high as 57%, give or take. And then for Trump, it's as high as about 51%, but as low as about 41.5%, give or take. Now that's slimmer. That vagueness has gone away a little bit because we are closer and people are becoming more decided. All of that previously were undecided voters. Now we're becoming more decided. We've got slimmer margins. So we've got about 51% low Biden and about a 55 and like 0.9% popular vote for Biden, and then Trump 48 at the high and then 43.5 for the low. So slimmer. The vagueness has gone down. It's more likely Biden is going to win the popular vote closer to 53.3%. And Trump might might lose the popular vote at 45.4%. And the same thing can be said about the Electoral College. I'm not going to go through that specific detail again, but that vagueness, those odds have slimmed out again. So it's just.
Have you seen the section on the swing states?
Is it the snake one?
No, it just says see the states with the closest races. And it's got like Ohio, Georgia, Texas, Iowa, North Carolina,
Georgia's
Florida.
like 50-50 this year.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me that, it's changed. It's better now. Ho, buddy. 57-43. That's awesome.
Did you see Florida though too?
I haven't seen Florida yet.
Florida's 69-31.
Oof, they got the sex number going too.
Stupid.
Oh man. So another thing about this is that certain polls will fall out of like meaningfulness. So you may see massive fluctuations based on that. So like if you're looking at the Florida one where it's 69-31, you'll see that there's a dot all the way the fuck out past 16 plus 16 points. If that dot was to go out of relevance, it would shift the likelihood towards Trump, not because it was inaccurate or anything, but because it's old information, they got rid of it, and it is now, there's a difference there. The points have gone the other way in favorability. So, and what does this mean, Greg? Do you know what all this means?
Lay it on me, Gabe.
It doesn't mean anything. It means we still have to vote. Polling doesn't mean shit if we don't vote. So all of that, if you're like, especially if you're one of the people in those polls specifically, if you took a poll that 538 pulls from and you don't actually vote, then your polling didn't do anything except inflate or deflate numbers, you know? So none of this polling actually means anything. It just kind of gives some of us a little bit of peace of mind, but you should still vote, you know, because this isn't a given. This isn't just something that's going to happen. You know, it could be that Biden is 89 to Trump's 10, but if nobody voted for Biden, then it doesn't fucking matter, you know?
Right. I was going to say, have you heard these reports, though, that, like, especially in early voting, of course, which is all there is until tomorrow, that there's been more turnout for early voting than ever before?
Oh, yeah,
like
it's insane.
There's record voting.
There's
So,
another thing that involved Texas. Republicans are trying to get rid of something like 110 to 120 something thousand votes. And the federal judge dismissed the case because he said they were votes, so they should be counted. The whole issue with it is they were doing like carpool voting or something like that, where cars were as like drive-in voting. They would drive in and they would vote, and then they would drive out. And the Republicans are saying it goes against the Constitution somehow.
right.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
that's fucking cool. That's fucking cool.
What a
Fuck me,
nightmare.
dude. Fuck me. Jesus Christ.
I mean, we can talk about guns if you want to, if it's more fun.
I'm down for anything. I just want this to be chill. I want this podcast to be chill, or this episode at least, because tomorrow's going to be anxiety ridden for like 48 hours. Because it's not just election day; they still have to count the votes, and that can take some time.
Right.
So,
It's hard to make a podcast chill when the subject matter is so not chill. But I guess I can kind of segue just a smidge into my own personal life. So I don't want to be too boring though. So anyways, let's talk about a new gun that I just found out about.
yeah, buddy, let's make this
And
fun.
it's something that, well, actually, I didn't just find out about it, but I just started researching it a little more. I'm sort of I'm kind of always on the quest for a new carry gun. Don't get me wrong, I really like my trusty standby, which is my Canic TP9 Elite SC. It's a phenomenal handgun. It's got a lot of great features, and I love it. But I've been kind of touching and looking into touching is the wrong word. Why did I say that? I've been looking into buying a new a bigger handgun for carrying.
To touch as well, right?
What's that?
To touch as well, right?
Yes, to touch better. To touch a little better. Oh boy, I've my sleep deprivation's coming in. This is like somewhere between a Glock 19 and like a subcompact, like 365 P365 level. That's kind of where the Canic falls size wise. But I kind of want to get something a little bit bigger in that sort of category, the compact size, 15-in-1 capacity, etc. So that's also the most common size, I think, for carry guns is in that size. So there is a gun company from Slovenia, which is on brand a little bit. They're a Eastern European company. Or Eastern European country, called Arex, Arex Firearms. And I think it was probably 2 years ago. I'll send you the website here.
I already pulled it up.
Got it. So a couple of years ago, they kind of got onto the U.S. market. They became sort of famous or infamous or whatever for their Delta handgun, their Alpha handgun, which is modeled after the 6 Hour P226, which of course is a very famous and popular handgun from the sort of late 80s, early 90s. It was a big police gun for a while. Very nice handgun. And a lot of people make copies of, it happens all the time in the gun world where somebody will make a cool design and then somebody else will copy it. AK-47s, all that kind of stuff. It happens everywhere. And so their version of that gun, which they call the Alpha, or the Zero, that's the other one too.
The Alpha is the competition one, it looks like.
Yeah, you're right. So it's called the Zero. So anyways, it gained a lot of respect and favorable reviews from the gun community as an affordable but high quality gun, made in Eastern Europe. So this one right here is called the Delta, and you can go ahead and click on that. And so this is their first polymer frame striker fired handgun, which is what a Glock 19 is, and Smith & Wesson M&P, 6 Hour P320. All that's what it's called, striker fired polymer framed, whatever. And, so I started looking into this thing. I was like, oh, I've heard about it, but let me research it or whatever. Well, first of all, the price is only $3.99 retail, which is nice. That's like, basically $100 to $200 less than a Glock or a 6 Hour. It's less money than the big boys, quote unquote. And I was like, oh, that's a great price point. So let me look up some YouTube videos and watch some of these reviewers that I tend to respect a little more than others. And everybody is talking about how nice the trigger is. It's a lighter weight gun than a Glock 19. It's also thinner and like all the dimensions of it, even though it's still the same capacity.
It's a striker fire still, right? Though it's
and
it's not got a garbage trigger.
No. Well, that's the thing about the Canics too. Is Canics are kind of known for having a really nice trigger out of the box, which Glocks and mostly just Glocks are just known for not having good triggers out of the box. And that's just not me. That's not me saying.
That's the first thing everybody changes on a Glock. You don't have to justify your saying that. I think everybody knows. Go to any Glock forum. Ask any Glock forum. Hey, I just got a Glock and I was thinking about doing some upgrades. What do you guys think I should do first? And everyone's gonna say trigger. Yeah.
And those triggers cost like $100. They're not cheap. And so that's I know I've gone down the Glock road many times, but so that's the whole thing. Is it's got a good trigger. The grip on it is supposed to be really nice and like ergonomic. But again, like it's basically like a Glock that's been on a diet. It's slimmer dimensions around the whole gun. It's skinnier on width wise. It's a little bit shorter on the grip. I think the barrel is probably about the same length, but overall, people are like, oh, the dimensions of this gun. This is probably the smallest 15 round capacity handgun on the market. Good price point. It comes with a 15 and a 17 round magazine, which is really nice for home defense. Mm-hmm. You can extend your capacity. And it just sounds like a really good handgun. Just high quality build materials and stuff. Yeah, so I've been looking into that. I'm not 100% sold on it yet. The thing that I really want in a handgun is I want it to be optic ready, which of course the Canic is already, which led me to another gun which is even more popular and famous, which is called the Springfield Hellcat. Did you see
I was reading that Springfield.
Yeah.
You got a little
you got
net.
the same issue I had last week.
Well, we have all the windows and doors open right now, so
we do too. That's a whole nother sidebar. This weather today is beautiful.
Oh yes, it's gorgeous. It's the only reason why I can wear a jacket and not like be dying right now. Springfield Armory. Yeah, we've had the AC off, and we just got our solar. It was installed for like a whole month, but the power company has to approve before you can actually use it. For whatever reason. I would assume an electrical engineer knows more about safety things than I do when it comes to electricity flowing into big fat cables and stuff. But it finally started actually making a difference. And I have an app and stuff, and I can watch the electricity. And that's been my fixation recently. Is just like, oh, what's on right now? We gotta turn it off. I gotta milk this for all I can.
Dude, isn't that like a meme somewhere, like the dad memes, like power doesn't fucking pay for itself. Everybody, turn this shit off.
Why do we have a light on? Look, I know we got the LED lights and they're more efficient and yada yada yada, but maybe let's not have to have it run,
I just have this lamp on, and I have this lamp on over here for some studio lighting, but
yeah.
That's all I got.
Oh, man. Well, my computer doesn't really... My computer's not exactly efficient. I have 3 monitors, and... I have 3 monitors, and... Well, it's mostly for work, and the computer, though, I don't need a 5700 XT graphics card for work. That's just that's for gaming, but all that stuff sucks up juice.
I can imagine.
Anyway, back to this Hellcat.
So I was kind of like anti subcompact for a little while. I really just thought, here's my logic. For fucking 30 years, the Glock 19 has been out, and has kind of been the gold standard for carry guns for so long. I'm like, if these, chuddy motherfuckers can figure out how to carry a bigger gun, then so can I. And so that's why I kind of went with a larger handgun to start off with. And the other one I was looking at was the CZ-P10C, which is sort of CZ's answer to the Glock 19, which is also just a really nice gun, relatively affordable. So anyway, but I'm thinking to myself, so this Springfield Hellcat, which, by the way, shout out to Artorius, our good friend who just left Florida, unfortunately. Safe travels. I know he's already there, but...
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly. And so he carries he doesn't carry it, but he has a Springfield XD handgun that he speaks very highly of. I got to shoot it at one of our range events, and it is actually a very nice gun. I think there was I think I might have said something about Springfield unfavorably at one point. But those, any doubts I had about them before have been completely squashed. They are definitely high quality handguns.
Did they pay you or something?
They didn't. I just shot Artorius's.
You sure they weren't paying you?
I wish they would. That'd be great. Maybe give me a free gun.
Hey, Springfield, support your local socialist.
Make it happen. Yeah. Well, those guns are made in Croatia too, by the way. So
Hey, look at that.
Anyways, so the Springfield Hellcat is a subcompact, of course, much like the P365 from 6 Hour, but it carries 11-in-1 capacity, which is only one less than my Canic. And then it even comes with an extended magazine that's 13-in-1, which would be 14 rounds that you can keep in your gun. And that's only one away from a Glock 19. So this gun, I haven't really given much muster to because I thought I was going to be big and badass and carry a big gun and be cool. But I was sitting at dinner last night and I had my gun on my side and it kept on digging in me. I must have had it on in just a way that, sometimes it shifts around in a weird way and it becomes uncomfortable to carry. And I just want a gun that I can throw on anytime, anywhere, whatever I'm wearing. I don't care what it is. And just be able to carry it in any weather, whatever. And then I did some digging on their website. I had been on their website previous a couple times, but I guess I just failed to look hard enough. They actually do military discount as well. Just like CZ used to do. They suspended their military discount plan for now for some reason.
They didn't give a reason at all?
No, the website's just completely down. You can't even get on the registration site.
I wonder, this might be unrelated, or maybe it is related. Do you think that would be a coincidence with the whole everybody else buying guns? Because I mean, like, there are people probably like you where like you got out of the military and you didn't really do the gun thing for a while, and maybe now they're getting back into it or something, and all of a sudden they're just overloaded with requests.
Well, I mean, I think the whole industry just right now is just really starting to be tested at its limits, so to speak. I know there's been component shortages, not only for like ammo, but just gun parts and stuff. Materials needed to make gun parts. So all that stuff combined, I think, and it's not even just the firearms industry. It's a lot of different industries that are having shortages. With China, at least for a while, China wasn't shipping a lot of stuff to the U.S. So stuff like that's happening and causing delays for a lot of people.
It's really interesting. This is an interesting gun because I got the Taurus here. I just unloaded it real quick. I got the Taurus 709 Slim here, and you said it's a sub. You said the Hellcat's a subcompact, and it does with the extended mag 13+1, 11+1
Correct.
normal. Dude, with an extended mag, I think these are 8 rounds or something. I'm just thinking like that's insane for a subcompact. That's awesome.
I know. Yeah. That's why it's a game changer.
I'm trying to see I can't really get a good look on the mags, but do they double stack them or something and just keep a small form factor and a fatter grip?
No, it's kind of a weird thing. It's kind of like the way that I understand it is it's kind of like a single and double stack all in one. Like I think the top 2 rounds are like single stacked on top of each other, but then as it goes down further towards the base, it double stacks. And it's just kind of an odd design that way. Yeah. And that's what the P365 did too. Like literally 6 Hour was like, so 6 Hour went above and beyond. They literally started with the magazine. They said, we want to do a 10-in-1 subcompact, like the best capacity, the best shooting experience that you could possibly get with the smallest gun possible. And that's what the P365 is. And that they kind of like threw the book out for gun design and just, used their Germanness to say, we're going to do this the best way possible. Springfield, I think used a little bit of that, but they actually, it is based on the XD series. The Hellcat is based on the XD series. So, but that's why it's such a game changer, because you're getting almost Glock 19 capacity in a very small package. And I actually got a chance to shoot one the other day at the latest range day that we just had. There was a gentleman from the Liberal Gun Club that had a Hellcat, and it's a little snappy. For a small gun, it's a little. I wouldn't say uncomfortable to shoot, but certainly more than something like my carry gun now. It's a small gun, but it carries a lot of rounds and comes optics ready. You can throw a red dot on there. The grip on it's really nice. And so I can get it, like I said, at a military discount price, which is really nice. So that's kind of the gun I'm leaning towards. And then if I have to have like a shit hit the fan type of situation, I can get a full size, the Canik TP9 SFX is a really great full size handgun for home defense. If you're not planning on carrying it, you can get them for about $500, maybe like $550 on the high end. 20 round magazines. It's pretty insane.
It's an interesting little gun there.
Yeah. So, are you on the website?
I just got off of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the Arex again.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the Hellcat's way smaller than. Well, I don't know if it's way smaller than your Taurus, but it's probably as small as, maybe a little bit smaller.
All right.
And,
I got a bug with Arex or however you pronounce it. If you look at every pistol product they have, they start with the same line, and they just change the name of the gun. The Arex 01 pistol does not claim to be a revolutionary breakthrough, but you will find it represents a definitive evolutionary step in modern handgun design and manufacturing. Let's go back. Let's go back, and let's pick the Alpha. The Arex Alpha. Oh shit! I was wrong. Let me go back to the Delta. I swear to God, I just read it with one of them. It was the Delta. Okay, the Arex Delta pistol does not claim to be a revolution step breakthrough, but the final blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing. Okay, so the Alpha and the Alpha is the only one that doesn't have the same one, but the Delta and the Zero both have they have the same fucking starter there.
Well, I think what they're trying to say there is we didn't invent the fucking wheel, but we took our own stab at it, and this is our.
They could have changed the first line. They could have just changed the first line. But that's okay. Hey, maybe they'll watch this and be like, yo, we need to change that first line. It's got to be different.
Maybe toss me a free gun also for mentioning you.
That'd be pretty cool.
So that's kind of where I'm at in my journey for carry gun bliss. I think I'm probably going to end up going with the Hellcat just because it'd just be nice to have something smaller. Because really, at the end of the day, all I really wanted was capacity, and the Hellcat can give you capacity in a smaller package. So why wouldn't you just do it that way? So that's my new recommendation. I still recommend Caniks for price and quality and features and all that stuff.
And probably if you're going for a full size, probably you stick with that. But for subcompact, this is looking pretty spicy, dude.
Which one?
The not the Arex, the Springfield one.
Yeah,
that's looking pretty good.
It's cool, right?
That's awesome.
You're digging on it?
Oh yeah, super. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah, and it like I said, it comes. You can get an optic ready version or a non-optic ready version for less money. But I feel like if you're going to do that, the optics that you can get for it are pretty good. So that's that's what I have to say about that. I hope and wish that after tomorrow, ammunition goes back to normal sometime soon.
Do you think,
Angus?
Do you think if Joe Biden wins, ammunition will go down? I don't think so. I personally don't think so.
Man. So you want to talk about like the proposed civil war or whatever, like the aftermath?
Geez. I guess so, because it's something really we should talk about. There's a lot of leftists who will have to deal with potential issues. I know when Trump got elected, if you were LGBTQ plus or you were basically not white hate crimes for those groups went up after Trump was elected. So that was like super not cool. I would imagine if Trump doesn't get elected or Trump does get elected, either way, I have a feeling that we're going to see another spike in some type of hate crime. Is my guess.
I think if he doesn't get elected, it's going to be worse.
Really?
And well, maybe okay. So this again, the worst year ever. The one, the only Robert Evans, changing up the beers.
Yeah, doing the mango one this
time. So this is the way he put it. He basically said, I don't expect there to be tanks in the streets of every American city in the country. That's not what's going to happen. What is going to happen over the next... So he said, he basically kind of highlighted a couple of things that have already happened, i.e. the governor of Michigan kidnapping plot, the shootings that have already happened amongst both against Trump supporters and against leftists or whatever, and a few others. I think he mentioned a couple other ones. But he basically said, we've seen this happen. This is basically, no surprise to anybody. He said the one thing about right-wing revolutionaries, so to speak, people that are extreme right-wingers, he said a lot of them are just really dumb. And he said,
"Ooh, buddy, that feels good."
They keep on. So no, this is like facts. Like this is
man,
these people. He said that their OPSEC is bad. They're texting each other. Like for example, the governor of Michigan kidnapping. These people were just texting each other willy nilly, just on regular cell phones, without even trying to hide anything.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go commit some federal crimes today. Like, meet me at this location. Whatever. And
buddy,
so he said,
all you have to do is watch like literally any fucking movie where they commit a crime as the main plot. Like literally any movie, and like they'll teach you everything you need to know to not be stupid, to commit a crime. Available. Not endorsing crimes.
Right. But so there's that. But he said but basically the way he put it was, for every 10 or 20 or 100 stupid pieces of shit that get arrested for being dumb on the right and trying to commit a crime that is politically charged or whatever, there might be one person out there who's actually is smart. He compared it to like Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber, who was incredibly smart and incredibly capable and followed out and did exactly what he wanted to do, which was, destroy a government building. And he accomplished that. He was very successful, even though, of course, it was a horrible act. But he said, there's going to be another Timothy McVeigh out there. Like, it's going to happen. He's like, it's probably not going to happen the day after the election, saying if Biden wins. But it's probably going to happen in the next year, that, something's going to be planned and followed through, and it's going to be done carefully and with detail and all that kind of stuff. And it's just he said he's like, I don't want that to happen, but I would not be surprised if something like that happens in 2021. Yeah.
Again, we've talked about this before. Like the number one national security threat, as recognized by either the CIA or FBI or whatever, is right-wing terrorism.
Right.
That's on their like biggest like oopsies that's gonna fucking suck one day kind of thing list. So it's not really surprising to like hear people think that this is gonna happen and stuff. I don't know about a lot of people thinking like, oh my God, there's gonna be a civil war. I don't think there's gonna be a civil war.
Right. There's not gonna be tanks in the streets.
No. I don't think, and even still, even if there weren't like, full on tanks in the streets, I don't think even if a civil war broke out, it wouldn't be like, I don't think it would be the government versus like an entity. It's probably going to be like the government supporting like
it's going to be a people's war.
It's going to be it would be a people's war, and it would be more probably along the lines of the government supporting leftists, like, as weird as that may sound, just because, like, the right-wing threat has already been recognized by some of the higher intelligence agencies in the United States. I don't think those intelligence agencies would want to have us siding with us as like a nation state or whatever. They wouldn't want to be siding with the right-wing people who are literally committing the terrorist acts. You know, we would start to see a media shift in how the media frames right-wing attacks and right-wing militias, and not anymore as like an incident or a militia, but as like a terrorist attack or terrorist organizations. Just like the Northwestern Al Qaeda Christian group or whatever, that right wing militia that came out of what state was it? Like Washington or like Idaho or something like that, where they were all like, or Oregon, where it was they literally were like English out. They just translated Al Qaeda to English, and then they ended up literally taking their tactics.
I think it was Washington.
Yeah, and they were applying it to their training and stuff. It would be interesting. It wouldn't be what we would consider, or what we have a conception of as like a national entity, or like our concept or our ideas of what we would think a civil war is. Like with Vietnam, there was North and South, basically the Viet Cong.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be anything like that.
There's North and South Korea, North South United States. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like the Syrian civil war. It would be really weird. And it's almost like you've listened to the episode. They talk about like literally what war is going to look like. And there was, I think there was a war in, I think it was, Ukraine. That's what it was. It was when the war started happening in Ukraine. This was recently. And there was some like reporters on the ground this is what Robert Evans was talking about. And reporters on the ground talking to the citizens saying, you guys saw what was happening. You saw what was coming. Why didn't you leave your country? Why didn't you, try to do something about it, or, get out of harm's way or whatever? And the sentiment always, the point they were trying to make was that, like, when these types of situations happen, it's like, well, I never thought this would happen here in my backyard or in my city or it can't
whatever.
Happen here.
It can't happen here, and that's why the name of that podcast was it may happen here, or it could happen here. And there's that's kind of the whole point, is that no one is immune against bad political ideologies, or almost like a cult like mentality, or herd like mentality, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I mean, even just looking back like 100, 150 years ago or whatever, unions were literally being shot on. And I think we just talk about this last episode or something. Unions were literally being shot on by the Pinkertons. They were Pinkertons and other groups like them were hired, and they would literally kill like protesting union workers. And they had full out like fucking like shooting back and forth and shit. There were instances in on the East Coast and like West Virginia and all these like mining places where like mining companies would call up the U.S. government, and then the U.S. government would shoot on its own people because there were union workers protesting against the insane fucking work conditions that they had to like mine in, and the owners were like, nah, fuck that shit. So this is civil unrest. We need daddy government to come in and clean this up. And it was like, I don't know where I was going with this, but like, oh wait, no, I do remember. This literally happened. This kind of thing happened. Not that long ago. Like that's like 3 generations ago, 4 generations ago at most. That happened. You may have met a grandparent or a great-grandparent who had participated in that type of civil disobedience, or whatever they want to call that. This isn't new. The civil rights movement only just recently happened, and BLM even more so recent. We have grandparents who were alive today who probably were shot with a fire hose as a child,
or especially in the
worse.
South and whatever.
This type of stuff, it can happen here. It's possible.
Absolutely. And I think there's a certain level of complacency, that exists among probably the majority of people. And again, my position on this entire thing has been, I don't think there's going to be a complete societal collapse or anything even closely resembling that. But the fact that you have to remain cognizant of what's going on in your community, or at least politically, paying attention to your surroundings and having that situational awareness is completely crucial. It's why I carry a firearm every day. It's typically it's just casual. My comings and goings throughout the city of Orlando. I just work and do what I got to do, but I have a settle for Biden sticker on my car.
You're a target.
And I have I don't have anything that says that I have guns or anything on my car, but you cross the wrong person, and again, this is Florida. This is a swing state. There's a lot of people passionate for the right and left in the state, and if I cross the wrong person at the wrong time, in the wrong place, somebody might be upset with seeing my sticker on my car or something stupid. So, yeah, it's they call it, I feel like calling it a powder keg is kind of a little it's exaggerated.
Well, I mean, we don't know what the future is going to hold, but it's very I was watching a streamer, and sorry to completely interrupt, but this is super relevant to what you're talking about right now.
Go ahead.
I was watching a streamer, and he was talking about Kristallnacht. Okay, I was surprised about this. Okay,
Crystal what?
Kristallnacht.
What's that?
Night of Broken Glass. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
It's the
should I know?
I mean, maybe. I mean, it just depends on how much of a history nut you are. In Nazi Germany, or this is technically right before it or right in the middle of starting it and stuff. Kristallnacht was Night of Broken Glass, where there was political violence brought upon the Jewish people for I believe it was the official first, the biggest first time. It was a super big event, and it has been considered the quote powder keg to all of this. Now, you could technically go back and be well, the Nazi Party, they were all back there, they were doing stuff for 10 years prior to, and it's well, they didn't have any political influence up until somewhere around this point. This specific event signified the start of a new era that sought the destruction and decimation, well, not decimation because that's 1/10 destroyed, but the complete annihilation of a type of people in a given country and beyond, probably in the continent if they were to succeed. Kristallnacht only had 91 Jews die. Only 91. And I know that sounds like 91 is still a lot of people, obviously, but when you're talking about this is the same time period, or this is preceding the events of concentration camps and death camps specifically. Right. When we're talking about that, and there was 6 million or some odd Jews that died in the events following, 91 doesn't seem like a big number, but they didn't have the death camps yet. They didn't have the concentration. They didn't have the trains that would pick up Jews in Poland and cart them over to the nearest work camp, where they would be starved and eating watered down potato soup on a good day and moldy stale bread. That this hadn't happened yet. So yeah, 91 people may not be a lot, but what it ended up signifying was so much more. And it's like, what if, and we don't know this, we can't know because we can't know the future, but what if we've already had our Kristallnacht and we just don't know it?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's nothing's killed that many people with regard to this, but it's definitely getting there. And, you know, time will tell, I guess. I would say probably, again, if it's a Biden win tomorrow or this week or whatever happens, I think a lot of other people have predicted that there's going to be some kind of violent uptick, at least an uptick in violent encounters.
Mm-hmm.
How big or small those encounters might be is, I guess, up to speculation. But that's again, just be prepared. We obviously advocate for using firearms for defending yourself, even if you don't want to be a part of anything or you don't want to participate in direct action or anything like that. That's fine. You don't have to. But if you are a left-leaning person, and like I said, you live in a swing state or just whatever, for any reason you feel like you're at risk for a threat, I would do something or be prepared to defend yourself somehow. You never know who you're going to run across. So
the only thing I can think in all of this is like, for anybody who's a potential who, if you consider yourself center leaning and you heard all of this and you're like, oh, well, that's bullshit, you know, and you still think, despite all of this, what we've said, well, it still can't happen here. I don't know what to tell you there. Like, there's like overwhelming evidence at this point that far right leaning, like militia groups exist who advocate for basically the same things that Al-Qaeda and other, what we had considered previously almost exclusive to Islamic terrorism, which isn't exclusive anymore, or nor was it back then either. But what was considered to be an exclusive to that, it's no longer that, and we're seeing it here. We're literally seeing it here, like right now. I just don't know what else to tell you. I don't know, because all I can think of is like someone like my dad, who's kind of like center leaning. He doesn't necessarily care about politics. He has his own things that he's doing, and I feel like that's a lot of the United States. Like most people probably think that they just like, I have my own thing I have to deal with, that I got to take care of. This is barely even.
That's what I was saying before.
Forethought.
Like this was my thought when I was a younger person.
And I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about this. This is something that I don't want to be right about. And I hope I am. I hope I'm wrong. But if we're right, well, I told you so.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. I don't have anything. I can't think of anything that would, because like I don't know what you need at this point. You've had 4 years of it. You know, where it's just very blatant, like none of this is being held back.
Right.
Like what would convince you, you know, if we had a preconceived notion that stakes don't exist for some reason, you know, and like the idea of stakes is like this, it's like this fake, almost mythologized kind of like, removed aspect of some sort of whatever, you know. It doesn't, like we've heard of it, it's in literature and all that, but it's not like, stakes aren't real, you know. They're just talked about. And I was like, no, dude, I swear to God, stakes come from cows. Stakes really do come from cows. I'm serious. Steaks come from cows, and it's like, I'm being told no. Steaks don't come from cows, man. The steaks aren't real, or at least they're not real here. You know, it's like it's a child story. Steaks are just a child story. It's like, no, steaks are real, and they're here, and they're in cows, and they're actually quite, you know, they're convincing. You know,
like
to the palate. They're convincing to the palate, and they get more and more people every day to eat steak. It's something we should be concerned about, you know. And they're like, nah. Your steak. Nah, this is like this is the same as QAnon, right?
Right.
No, like that, and it's like, oh no, buddy, no.
Yeah.
No.
Man, you're right. It's been a wild situation, and I was going to ask you, what are your plans for tomorrow night? What are you doing?
Well, technically I have to work, so I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I start paternity leave, I believe, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably just going to have...
Angus, hey, stop.
We're probably just going to have something on the TV. I don't know. It depends on how anxious I am. We're probably just going to have something on the TV.
We've organized a magic tournament that's going to happen at my friend's house.
Oh, that's awesome. Keep your mind away from it. Right.
We're going to keep the TV on in the background, but we're going to keep the magic flowing until at least there's... I don't know if do they usually announce a winner on the day of?
So that's another thing. Trump was pushing that really hard to, like, if we don't have an answer the day of the election, then anything else after that is considered fraudulent, which is never been true. Zero times in American history has that been true. U.S. history, I should say.
When do they announce a winner?
Whenever they count all the votes. The actual people polling and taking the actually filling out ballots and stuff ends tomorrow at whatever local time it is for each person. But as after that, it could take this. I don't think this has happened, but it could take 10 days, could take 20 days. It just depends on how long it takes to count all the votes. Now, a good thing is that a lot of mail-in stuff in early voting has happened, so that's dampened the effect of people going on election day. Another thing to consider, though, is that could be offset by the number of people who have signed up to vote. So if let's say the people who signed up to vote was equal to that of people who have already voted in early voting or mail-in ballot or whatever, then it doesn't matter, because those people who normally vote on election day are just going to come in, and it's going to be just as busy as it ever is on any election day. So we could have, and of course we have the issue in like Florida. Florida's popular for being the problem state. So we could see Florida taking a really long ass time to figure their shit out.
Right.
So,
man, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat the whole time.
and that's just another thing, is like that kind of feeds into all this, is like Trump has already primed his base that no matter the results of the election, he's supposed to be in power, which
is it's not how it works, but
all the way from like, what you just said is like, we should count all the votes on election day, and then anything that happens after that, doesn't count. Just from that to, we're going to see on election day, the voting come in, and then over the course of the next couple days, we'll see all the mail-in ballots come in, and it's going to swing the other way. And those are going to be fraudulent somehow. I don't know how, but I know he said something along those lines. Or to the point that he's primed his voters that his supporters saying that, if I don't win, then we know it's fraudulent. Just as simple as that. And it's like, it's like, I don't know, man. And that feeds into the whole thing we were talking about just before, where there's like a legitimate concern for like a potential authoritarian takeover.
Right.
Which I don't know.
I don't think that's going to happen. I know he just knows how to talk to his base in a way that riles them up, and that's fine. Exactly. But in reality, if there's a Biden victory, I think a lot of those people are just going to go back to their little hidey holes, and
I hope so.
I
hope so.
Whatever.
And then, no matter what the results are between now and whenever the final counting is done, no matter what it is, back to what we were talking about in the beginning, we keep going. We keep pushing. We keep doing more.
Right. Oh,
We don't want to waste the last 4 years we just had, building up leftism. It's never going
to stop, really. But,
so,
yeah, I agree.
We need to keep pushing forward and keep having, Bernie's probably going to die soon, so we're not going to have Bernie. So we need to find out. Excuse me. We need to find out who the next person is, who's going to be like that candidate.
AOC.
Hey, maybe I think we were talking about it in the line chat. I was like, yo, I'm really like stoked for AOC. I hope she runs one day. I don't know if she's going to run anytime soon just because she's so young.
It's going to be a while.
And she gets a lot of shit for no reason, even from people in the Democratic Party. So I don't think she would have the support. But
she's definitely going to be a candidate one day.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. She's definitely got my vote whenever that primary election comes up. Hey, and she played Among Us too on live stream, and she got like a shit ton of people watching it, like concurrent viewership.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think concurrent viewership was like 500,000 or something. It was insane. Oh, wow. Massive fucking live stream. It was huge. It's great. That's too. Crazy. So, and then all people can do is shit on her for having a $14,000 dress suit or whatever.
Yeah.
It was donated, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this, but she's come out multiple times saying that most of her wardrobe has been donated to her. So
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, it was. She did a cover for a magazine, and people started shitting on her for wearing a 14. They were like, "I've looked that up, and that's supposed to be like a $14,000, dress attire or whatever." And she's said this like 2 years ago. Like, I knew this before I was a socialist, like 3 or 4 years ago. I knew that AOC had stuff donated to her because I'm not stupid, and I watched an interview on her before I decided to make a comment that she has a $14,000 dress attire or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's literally, it's there. It's on the internet. It doesn't go away.
Right. Whatever. But you know how people are.
Yeah.
No worries. Oh, I think we can kind of leave it there.
Yeah. We're hitting time.
We've said, mostly everything I think we wanted to say about it.
I hope it wasn't too doomer. It was pretty. It got a little sad for a moment.
You introduced a lot of good information. And again, I've learned I'm a smarter person having done this, so I appreciate you. We will obviously be recording next week, same time, and we will have a new president at that point, maybe, hopefully. We'll see what happens. And we'll have sort of an aftermath report. I'm sure next week this week in general is going to be pretty insane, and I can't wait to see what happens. So I guess we'll see you guys then. And again, thanks to everybody that's been listening and giving feedback. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you next time. And vote.
Bye, guys.
Bye.